Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Trumbull Neighborhood Partnership live stream. If you're tuning in, you might know us. We're a community development corporation serving Warren, Ohio, and Trumbull County. We have a focus on quality of life in neighborhoods. We work primarily in housing, food access, and community organizing, and a variety of other programming focused on the quality of life and material conditions in our neighborhoods here in Warren and Trumbull County. During the pandemic, we have tried to use our platform to provide as much useful information to our residents as possible, sort of within the scope and general realm of quality of life and material effect of life. So we know that there's a lot of uncertainty with the COVID crisis and the economic fallout from it. And we know that there's specifically a lot of concern around housing, particularly as folks are losing their jobs or are uncertain about employment. People might be worried about eviction or foreclosure. These are very real issues. The numbers that we have seen are very dramatic, and we're looking at the end of some benefits and resources for people that were temporary. And so what we wanted to do this evening is provide our platform and share it with community legal aid, who can help residents with civil matters, and specifically the community legal aid Clarence Darrow Court Clinic. So to that end, I would like to introduce from Community Legal Aid, Elsa.
Hello. Thank you very much, Matt. Again, my name is Elsa Gottfried, and I'm an attorney with Community Legal Aid. Community Legal Aid is a nonprofit organization which provides legal services in Central and Northeast Ohio. We provide civil legal services to the low-income community. I would like to thank you again for inviting me to talk today. And what I'd first like to let you know, what I'm going to talk about today in general is what community legal aid can provide and what they have to offer, as well as I would like to talk about a unique opportunity that came to our county, Trumbull County, the Clarence Darrow Court Clinic. But first, I'd like to just simply talk about the right to an attorney when one cannot afford an attorney. As we all know, if you're arrested or you're charged with a crime or you find yourself in criminal court charged with a crime, one of the first things they say to you is if you cannot afford an attorney will be appointed for you. But when you're faced with a civil lawsuit, such as a foreclosure or an eviction or a consumer collection case, or your bank's after you, or your credit card company's after you, or your landlord is after you, you are not entitled to a court-appointed attorney. So if you cannot afford one, you often find yourself entering a legal system in the civil world without the assistance of an attorney. And often you do need the assistance of an attorney because it's so difficult to get through the legal system. I'm here today after being invited by Matt to talk to you about, after we spoke to each other, about how you do have rights and legal aid can help you, especially the low-income community where there's access to our judicial system needs in the civil realm. When you are sued or you have a problem with a foreclosure or an eviction, or you can't pay your bills, or you can't pay your mortgage, you may have rights. You do have rights. You may have defenses to a lawsuit. You may have an action against the person that's suing you. You may be able to resolve this matter without ever even going to court or outside of court. In sum, you just basically have the right to defend yourself. But if you don't do anything, if you don't call for help, if you just say, I owe that bill, I know I owe that bill, I know I'm behind on my payments, and you don't show up in court, and you don't answer or file a response, or you don't tell your side of the story, then the other side could win. So how can we help you? How can legal aid help you? What can we help you with? That's what I'm going to start with. In general, community legal aid serves 8 counties, one of which is Trumbull County in the north, east, and central part of Ohio. We help with civil legal matters. If you call us for a criminal matter, we're not going to be able to help you. But with civil legal matters, we help with housing, as I've said, evictions, foreclosures, landlord-tenant disputes, as well as conditions issues, like if you're having a problem with your plumbing and your landlord is not fixing it. Also, we help with consumer-related issues, like I mentioned. If the bank is suing you on a loan or a car loan or a credit card or medical bills, we help with that. If you're having a benefits problem, such as Social Security benefits, you're not able to receive them, you don't understand the application process. Also, unemployment benefits, which are very much in demand right now. If you're having problems with that, we can assist you. Public assistance benefits, we can also help with. We also help with record sealing and expungements or certifications to qualify for employment. Oftentimes, your record or somebody's record in your community, or if you're trying to apply for jobs, you need those records sealed so you can obtain productive employment. We also help with family law issues. If you're being hurt by someone that you are intimately involved with, or that is living in your household, or you need a divorce, or you need custody issues resolved, we help with civil protection orders in those issues. If you need help with preparing a simple will, estates, documents, powers of attorney, health insurance, durable powers of attorney, if you need assistance with those, we can help with those. How do we help you? What type of services do we provide? Well, there's varying levels of service that legal aid can provide depending on your case and your legal situation. Some cases, we offer legal advice and review of court documents to help you understand your options and your rights. Some cases, we're able to help with what we call self-help assistance. We help you through your court actions. We help you prepare the documents. We help you advise you about how to defend yourself, what rights you have, how to tell your story in a courtroom. And we do provide in-court representation when possible. Our goal is to have no one go through the court system alone. That is the civil court system. Again, Matt, and everyone who's listening, I'd like to emphasize that legal help is available to those who cannot afford an attorney and to those who qualify in our low-income communities. Now, I just described to you legal aid as a whole and what services we provide and how we can help during the pandemic as well as in the future. I'd like to highlight what I spoke about and Matt has mentioned is the Clarence Darrow Court Clinic that we are now operating in Trumbull County, Ohio. It is a very unique opportunity. We were one of 15 in the nation that was awarded a grant to legal aid by the federal government to operate this clinic. This clinic was formed with the efforts of legal aid, Trumbull County, as well as the Trumbull County courts, as well as the Trumbull County Bar Association and our local private attorneys. It's a free legal clinic for those who qualify. Who we help, you do need to be a Trumbull County resident, or you do need to have a pending court action in Trumbull County, Ohio. The legal issues we help with are issues that when we applied for the grant, we realized that they were the most needed issues in Trumbull County that people needed assistance with. Those issues are housing, foreclosure, evictions, landlord-tenant matters, and consumer debt collection. The clinic is staffed by 2 private volunteer attorneys, myself, who is the attorney coordinator, and I'm employed by legal aid as a legal aid lawyer, and a full-time legal aid paralegal. The attorney services provided at the clinic are similar to the services provided at community legal aid for other legal matters in other jurisdictions or counties. They also review court documents. They also assist you and advise you. They also provide you with your rights and your options. They also assist you in preparing documents. They can help you negotiate a settlement or a resolution to your case outside of court. And they also refer you or can refer you to community resources and services that are available in your community. What I mean by that is oftentimes when you're having a legal problem, there's also other problems going on. Your legal problem may be caused by the fact that you do not have a job right now and you do not have money to pay something. We do have information to refer you to emergency referrals, assistance, and financial assistance or housing. The clinic hours and days are on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. That is every week. We operate the clinic 3 days a week. Again, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Again, we have it staffed by the 2 attorneys, a full-time paralegal, and myself. The clinic started and was launched in February. It was an in-person clinic and it was held at the Trumbull County Bar Association. However, due to COVID and safety issues, we now had to change it. We didn't want to stop it. We changed it to a phone clinic so that people could get the help they needed during COVID. How the clinic works is you apply first. That's the best way to do it. Call the number that's, I believe, scrolling at the bottom or provided on the slides that you're seeing or saw before you started watching me speak, as Matt as well. The number is 330-983-2584. If you qualify for our services, you will be told of the clinic hours, reminded of the days. We'll make sure that your legal matter is something that the clinic attorneys can address. And then you will be told of the days, and then you can call any of those days of the week. Your file will already be open. All your information will be there and the attorney will have access to that. If you have documents, we try to get you to have you send them ahead of time so that when you call into the clinic, the attorney has your documents to review. I'd like to stress at this point that this unique opportunity in Trumbull County, this clinic that we're operating to help the most urgent needs in the past when we applied for the grant, as well as very urgent needs right now during the pandemic, legal aid could not have done this without our local private attorneys who volunteer their time and their expertise to the community. We also could not have done this without the support of the 7 courts, the judges, and the magistrates, as well as our local Trumbull County Bar Association. Now, I have explained to you, and I'm sure you understand, that there is a need for civil legal services. And I don't need to tell you how COVID has really impacted our economic and financial stability in Trumbull County, as well as in the nation. But I would like to highlight how this has really increased the need for legal services. Just over the past month, we had a couple moratoriums that have ended or coming to an end. The federal government has issued an eviction moratorium. That eviction moratorium has come to the end. It has ended in July, at the end of July. That moratorium basically meant that if you were renting from a housing unit that had a federally backed mortgage, that is, your landlord had a mortgage that was federally backed by FHA, VA, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, any of those entities, you could not be evicted during the moratorium. Also, the foreclosure moratorium is ending August 31st of 2020, the end of this month. That moratorium is basically if you have a federally backed mortgage, you cannot be foreclosed on. Unless those moratoriums are extended under the new stimulus package, what that means to everyone is that if you were relying on those and hoping those could provide you with some protection, right now, the banks, the creditors, when those moratoriums are ending, or when the eviction moratorium ended, those landlords can now pursue their legal actions against you. Also, during when the pandemic started, the courts slowed down. They postponed a lot of most local courts postponed all non-emergency cases. They are now starting to open back up, and they're starting to hear these cases. And those non-emergency cases included foreclosure, housing, and consumer debt collection cases. They are now starting to hear these cases with the safety measures. So what that means is if you can have your hearing or a pre-trial or a status conference or just a motion hearing with very limited issues, you'll have that hearing over the phone or through some sort of virtual fashion, such as WebEx. If you're having a trial and a court appearance is required, the court is limiting access to the public as well as to people coming in. That means basically, in order to comply with the safety measures, the parties involved need to be in the courtroom and witnesses as called and staggered out. So there's not a ton of people waiting in the hallways or in the courtroom. As most people probably already know, the $600 a week federal unemployment insurance has finished at the end of July. A lot of people relied on that to pay their bills, and it's going to be very difficult for us to all move forward in paying our bills without that money. Again, unless that's extended or some portion of it is extended under the stimulus package, one cannot rely on that anymore in budgeting and trying to figure out how they're going to make their bills. The state unemployment benefits, that has been, unfortunately, for some people, they're still waiting to receive their unemployment benefits, or they've been denied. I see some questions coming up.
Yeah, we have a question about what you're talking about right now. So if my unemployment benefits were denied, how can legal aid help with this?
Legal aid has some unemployment attorneys that primarily deal with that. They need to call the 1-800-998-9454 number, and they will be the attorney they will be speaking with will assist them with applying for the unemployment benefits, trying to assist them if they're being denied, and try to help them navigate through the system so they can get to basically getting the money, because it is very difficult to navigate. This attorney has been in meetings, dealing with the unemployment office and the state, and part of helping with all the technological problems they're having, all the delays, and just the huge demand right now. So she's very up to date on that.
So what I'm really hearing from you, Elsa, is, I mean, a lot of really good information, but something's really jumping out at me, and it's that people have rights and people have resources, or access to resources that they may qualify for free. I think a lot of people don't know that. We hear from a lot of folks that are in precarious positions economically, and they just don't know that they have these rights. So I just really wanted to pause on that and stress it. You have rights if you are facing some kind of civil issue. If you're facing eviction, if you're even behind on rent, you have rights. And I know that people should reach out and reach out early. I just wanted to mention that before you go on.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. And that is really what I'd like to highlight today. So thank you for emphasizing that as well. I do, as indicated, that there is a need for that help due to COVID. We've also seen, as I said, an increased need for legal help For example, just as a legal aid attorney, I've seen, let's see, in June, we had 23 eviction calls for help in 1 week. In July, we got 124 calls in 1 week. So, and that is as a result of the pandemic and the courts opening back up again on the evictions. Yes.
So if I'm behind on rent and I'm afraid I'll be evicted, do I have to wait until I get an eviction notice before I call the clinic?
Absolutely not. What we want and what I'd like to emphasize is call now. Call ahead of time if you're having problems paying your rent, if you're having problems paying your mortgage, if you're having problems paying your bills. You don't want to wait till the legal action is on your doorstep, because if you call now, you can understand your legal rights, your options available to you, what you can do if you cannot in no way, shape, or form pay that bill, what your options are legally. Instead of waiting till your hearing is in 2 days or a week, or you have to get an answer in a response in 2 days. At this point, it's better off to plan and call as soon as possible, because then you'll be in a better position than if you wait till you're receive the court papers, basically. Okay, with that focus on housing and evictions and foreclosures, and we do assist and answer questions with land contracts, because we've been seeing homes being foreclosed on, and our clients are in a land contract with the owner who has the home being foreclosed on, that they're paying their land contract payments to. So we are getting questions with regard to that. We are getting a lot of foreclosure questions, as well as evictions. Let me give you an example. If you wait, there's so many options in a foreclosure. If you do nothing and you don't talk to an attorney, you may miss mediation. You may miss being able to get into a loan modification. You may miss any violations that your lender is committing that's in violation of law. In evictions, if you don't call ahead of time, for example, I'll give you an example on evictions. Let's say you stop paying your rent and your landlord says, I'm going to evict you. I'm going to serve you with a 3-day notice. And you say, well, my plumbing hasn't worked, or my water's not working, so I haven't paid my rent for 3 months. A lot of people don't understand that you can't just stop paying rent because you have a conditions problem. You have to follow the law. And that's if you call us and say, hey, I'm having a problem. What do I need to do? Because I really don't want to pay my landlord rent, which makes sense. So what you need to do, and what you would be told, is you need to send a letter to your landlord, communicate to your landlord that if you don't fix this within a reasonable amount of time, I'm taking my rent and I'm giving it to the court and I'm escrowing my rent. And the only way you're going to get it is if you fix the problem. But if you don't do that, then your landlord evicts you because you haven't paid for 3 months, and you find yourself in court. The only issue before the court on the first hearing is whether or not you paid your rent. So that's why it's so important to know ahead of time.
And so that bold and powerful action is something that legal aid can help residents take.
Right.
Okay.
Correct. We'd help them prepare the letters, assist them with that. Yes.
That's very empowering.
Guide them through.
In a crucial time.
Okay. All right. With the consumer debt collection, again, the emphasis on don't wait. I often see, and this is the reason why we've included this in the clinic after trying to figure out what people's needs were in the community. A lot of people, they'll have a credit card bill, and right now they're paying for their necessities. They're paying to keep their utilities on. They're paying to keep the roof over their head. They're paying to keep food on their table. They're not there, and it's understandable that credit card bill is not a top priority. And it's understandable, but call before you're sued, or definitely call when you're sued, because if you're employed, if you wait and say, well, there's nothing I can do, I owe it, why bother? Then what happens is they get a judgment against you because you may not show up in court, or you may not file a response or do anything. And then you end up being garnished. and then you're calling, and then that's a lot of work, and it's because you already have a judgment against you, and you're trying to not have that garnishment on you. So it makes things a lot more difficult. So call ahead of time. Do we have any other questions? I see the unemployment and I see a behind on rent.
Well, if somebody has a land contract, so we have a lot of people, and I think Trumbull County is the highest land contract rate per capita. And so, if someone's in a land contract and gets in a tricky situation with economics, um, can they be evicted? I mean, legal aid can help with that also.
Legal aid could help with that. I would review the land contract. I would check the law, and I would expect our volunteer attorneys to do that as well. I think there's a time frame and whether or not you can be evicted, or there has to be a foreclosure action filed against you. And I'd have to research it, but I think it's 5 years. But and then it triggers a foreclosure. But I don't. I have to be honest, that's something I had to take a look into. But yes, to answer your question, if you have that legal problem, call, because if I don't know the answer, I do the research. If someone else doesn't, someone else may know the answers. We have 2 other attorneys, and we do have housing experts and attorneys that work at legal aid.
But if you have a land contract, you're included in this as well. So
Correct.
all right, we have another question. If I'm behind on my car payment, I'm afraid it will be repossessed. Can the clinic help with that?
Yes, we can. Absolutely. And there's some very unique laws with regard to car repossession, and your lender has to comply with notices and all these requirements. So yes, we could help with that in advance to help you, perhaps refer you to someone to help you, maybe get into a payment arrangement with them to prevent the repossession. But if it's been repossessed, we can help and assist you through that lawsuit, or defending yourself through that lawsuit, to make sure that all the rules were complied with, as well as to make sure the amount you're being sued for is correct. Okay. All right. So I'd like to summarize a little bit, and then I can take some more questions. If you are a Trumbull County resident, or you have a court action pending in Trumbull County that involves housing or consumer issues, that is evictions, foreclosures, debt collection cases, you can call and participate in the Clarence Darrow Clinic by applying at 330-983-2584. If you have another legal matter that doesn't fit into the Clarence Darrow Clinic, that falls within the categories that I read out, all those civil legal matters, family law issues, you're in a different county, you need some help with the bankruptcy because you're being garnished. If that is happening, you call the 1-800-998-9454 number, which is a general helpline number, or you can apply online at www.communitylegalaid.org.
Okay, Elsa, thank you so much for that presentation. I'm not certain that we have any more questions at this moment. That was very informative for me. I know that, like I mentioned earlier, we do hear from folks every day that are in these situations with job insecurity and housing insecurity and food insecurity. It's great to know that there is something available to people in their any civil matter that they have. That's the biggest thing I took away from that, was that people have rights and they have the ability to exercise them with help from community legal aid. And when it comes specifically to housing, the Clarence Darrow Clinic can help with that. So I'd really like to thank you for sharing all that information. If there are no more questions, I think we'll wrap it up. We do have another question. If I have veterinarian bills, can legal aid help with that?
Yes, that's a collection matter. It's a consumer matter. So yes.
Okay. It really sounds like you guys can help with a lot of things. We don't want to put a rosy spin on everything that is happening right now. We know that there's a lot ahead of us, a lot of uncertainty ahead of us. But the ability to have help with this, with some of these issues, is very important. Um, I think we're going to close this out for now, and we will be back again another time.
Okay. I'd like to thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to share legal aid information with the community. And I really look forward to working with you, Matt, and your organization. Thank you very much.